You've probably held one of these 100 times, right? But have you ever stopped and wondered how a simple little bubble gun is actually made? Well, today we're going to go inside the factory and see the pretty surprising journey this toy takes from just a pile of raw plastic to pure bubbly fun.
And that right there is the perfect way to put it. I mean, it seems so simple. You pull the trigger and bubbles come out. Easy. But behind that little bit of magic is a full-blown industrial process. So where does it all even begin?
Every single bubble gun starts its life right here. And no, it doesn't look like a toy. It's just a collection of raw industrial materials. Let's break down what's actually in that pile.
Okay, so what's really wild is just how many different things go into this. You've got these tiny plastic pellets, that's going to become the gun's body. Then you've got rubber for the seals, to stop it from leaking. There's a little motor or a pump, which is basically the heart of the machine. And of course, all the tiny screws and springs that hold the whole shebang together. And this really drives home that idea of transformation, doesn't it? Right now, it is just a bin of industrial parts. You would never look at this and think fun or toy. So the real question is, how do you get from this to a bubble gun? All right, this is where things get a little dramatic. We're about to go from those anonymous little plastic pellets to the familiar shape of a bubble gun, and it's all thanks to an incredible amount of heat and pressure. So here's how it works. First, they melt all those plastic pellets down until they flow kind of like thick honey. Then, whoosh, that molten plastic is shot at super high pressure into a metal mold. In just a few seconds, it cools down and hardens. Then the mold pops open, and out comes a perfectly formed handle, or a trigger, or the shell of the gun. So, you might be wondering, why do factories do it this way? Well, this process is called injection molding, and it is a total game changer in modern manufacturing. The reason is simple. It's incredibly fast, it's extremely precise, and it's the perfect way to make thousands, even millions of identical parts really, really cheaply. This is the exact process that made so many everyday items affordable for all of us. Okay, so we've got the outer body, but a bubble gun is pretty useless without the part that actually makes the bubbles, right? So now we're going to look inside at the heart of the toy, the mechanism that gives it its magic. And there are basically two main types. You've got the manual version, which uses a simple air pump. So every time you pull the trigger, you're physically pushing out one little puff of air. The electric one, on the other hand, that uses a tiny motor and a fan to create this constant stream of air. You press the button once, you get a non-stop flood of bubbles. But you know what? The magic trick for both of them is exactly the same. A little ring dips down into the liquid to create a thin film of soap. Then a puff of air blows through it and poof, a bubble is born. It's such a simple concept, but the real genius is fitting that whole system, the dip, the blow, into a tiny handheld toy that just works. So we have the plastic shell and we have the bubble-making guts. Now it's time for the assembly line, where all these separate pieces finally come together and become a real bubble gun. Whether it's a person or a robot doing the work, the process is incredibly precise and fast. The motor and the air tube go in first. Then the bubble ring mechanism gets fitted right into place. The two halves of the shell are snapped together, and finally, it's all screwed tightly shut so nothing's going to rattle around inside. The source material had this fantastic way of describing it. They said it's like Lego, but faster. And that is exactly what it feels like. It's just this rapid, perfectly choreographed construction project happening over and over and over again. So the bubble gun is now fully assembled, but it's not quite ready for the store shelf yet. Nope, there are a few absolutely crucial final steps that take it from just being a finished product to being a product that's ready for you. First up, the bubble liquid itself. And no, it's not just soap and water. Factories have a special formula that almost always includes something like glycerin. And why do they do that? Well, it makes the soap film stronger, which means the bubbles last longer and they're way less likely to pop the second they're created. Which brings us to probably the most important question anyone would have at this stage, right? We've gone through all this manufacturing, all this assembly, but does the final thing actually do what it's supposed to do? Oh yeah, they check. This is quality control. They pull random guns off the line and test them. Does it blow bubbles well? Is the motor running safely? Are there any sharp plastic edges? And here's a cool part. If a toy fails the test, it doesn't just get tossed in the trash. It goes right back to be recycled into new parts. So once it passes inspection, the gun gets packaged up in its colorful little box with the bubble liquid and instructions. From there, it gets loaded onto trucks, shipped out to giant warehouses, delivered to stores, and then it makes that last little journey from the store shelf right into your hands.
So the next time you see a stream of bubbles just floating through the air, you'll know the incredible journey that was behind them. That simple little toy passed through fire, through precision machinery, and through the hands of a whole lot of people, all for one simple goal, just to make you smile. And now you know.